I finished my half marathon race about 10 days ago, and I wanted to do this video to highlight some of the, less talked about things associated with running, especially as a runner over 50, over 40, a runner over 60. Racing is about so much more than the finish line. Last week I did a live stream on YouTube just a few days after the race, and I was just still bouncing with excitement about the whole experience. I am thrilled that you are here. I crossed the half marathon finish line a few days ago, and I have so much I want to share with you. I love that video and that conversation. It just felt very real and raw and timely and relevant just because it was so fresh off the race. But in this video today, I want to bring you with me on race day and the days leading up to race day with photos and videos and behind the scene moments. Just again, not to show you what it's like to run a race. You know what it's like to run a race, but to highlight some things that, we can't lose sight of as runners who are over 40, runners who are over 50, runners who are over 60, runners who are over 70 and beyond. There's just so many aspects of running and racing that we bring to the whole experience. We're going to talk about cucumbers, and we're going to talk about race day strategy. We end up in the massage tent at the end of the race or post-race, where I have a bit of an odd full circle moment. I'm so glad you're here. The other reason I want to highlight some of these specific things is I think you will see yourself in a lot of these moments. Runners call that week before race day a taper week. When you pull back on the training, you decrease your mileage. It is a deliberate, scheduled time in your training to pull back on things and let your body rest and recover from the hard training that you've been doing and really get it ready and prepared for race day, taper week. It sounds lovely. In my experience, it feels less like a taper and more like a wind-up, like a pressure cooker slowly building steam and no way to release that pressure. When you have so much nervous energy that you just don't quite know what to do with it, and you can't go for a run to try and make it better because you're not supposed to be running big distances or, in those last couple of days, any distances really. And I've run a fair amount of races, and it's the same for me every year. So this year I tried to keep myself busy, and it started with getting my playlist ready. Okay, it's the Friday before race day, so 2 more sleeps, and I am just a bundle of nerves. And I totally remember the Friday before last year too. I was the same. I just can't seem to settle myself, and so I have given myself some tasks today, and I have a little to-do list. And one of the big to-do lists is look at my playlist. I don't, as I've said before in some of my videos, I don't listen to music all the time when I'm running, but during a race, I do, because I don't want to have to use the brain power to listen to a podcast. Sometimes I do, but for the most part, I don't listen to podcasts when I'm doing a race. So I am not very techie, in case you didn't notice. I have these new earbud things. They're Shocks, they're called. And I've had them for a few months now, I think. I have no idea how to use them. I know how to put them in and get them started, and I know how to push the button to stop it, but that's it. So I've been experimenting. Okay, how do I skip a song? And I'm so proud of myself. I finally just figured out this morning, like about 30 seconds ago, how you skip a song in your playlist. There's that same little button. You just click it twice. Who knew? I've just never taken the time to figure them out because I don't know why. But anyway, so that is good news for me. The other thing that I'm doing today is, as I started to say, going through my playlist. There are some songs on my playlist that, that kind of just rev me up and get me going. And there are others that, are too slow. And there are others that just like put me mentally in the zone. So I'm going through my playlist and ciphering out the ones I need for race day. again, this is not something I've ever done. I've added a bunch of stuff to my playlist before a race, but I've not really taken the time to, okay, let's get race ready and make sure every song in there is something you need to hear. Yeah, so that'll probably take all of 20 minutes. I don't know what I'm going to do for the rest of this day to work out the nerves and the jitters. I am sitting outside because, as we know, it's not so much the sleep you get the night before the race, it's the sleep. I'll try that again. There was a very big truck going by. I'm sitting outside because, as we know, it's not so much the sleep you get the night before your race as it is about the sleep you get 2 nights before your race. So this is my sleep night. I want to have a good sleep tonight, so I've done my morning sun. I've done a little very, very slow walk this morning, just to get things moving, but not to get that heart rate up too much. And so I'm going to get a little outside time today. That always makes me sleep better at night. I'm going to nourish myself well. I'm going to hydrate myself. Because it is happening. Okay, the next part is about cucumbers. Let me know if cucumbers are a part of your taper week or wind up week. Okay, we're supposed to be resting. This is 2 days before race day. And I'm going to put nice, cool cucumbers on my eye. Oh, they are chilly. Okay, I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why I cut 3 slices. They're like a third eye chakra or something, like here. I don't think that counts, but I don't know what to do with the third slice. So, okay, here we are. I've never ever done this before. A third eye one seems to be giving me an ice cream headache. I think I'll take that off. Oh yeah, seriously, that's better. Don't put a slice on your third eye. As I'm just taking a slow breath in through my nose, of course, and a slower breath out. We know that if we want to activate our parasympathetic nervous system, the one that keeps us calm, the rest and digest system, they say make sure your exhale is longer than your inhale. So breathe out a little longer than you breathe in. This is quite nice. Settling things a little. I'm by no means feeling calm and cool. Calm and cool as a cucumber. I crack myself up. Okay. No, I'm not really feeling calm and cool and completely in the Zen mode, but I am feeling a little better. There's a very practical issue though. I only had English cucumber in my fridge. The slices are too small. I think it'd be good to have big slices. But start where you are. Use what you have. It goes without saying that Friday was a very long day. Saturday morning, it's travel day. It started with a shakeout run. Okay, I'm at the halfway point of my little shakeout run. Saturday morning shakeout. It's only 3K, going really slow, just exactly what it says. Just shaking out the nerves, shaking out the legs, and getting ready for tomorrow. And then it was about packing the suitcase, getting our food all packed, getting everything we needed to have to hit the road for the 3.5-hour drive to the race destination. It felt like a 6-hour drive, but it was only 3.5-hour drive. And I was just making sure we were stopping every hour, get out, move the body, stretch the back, make sure everything's okay and feeling good for the next day. We got settled into the hotel, and you've heard me on this. If you've seen my channel before or any of my videos, you may have heard me share that I have celiac disease. So I have to avoid gluten, exposure to gluten. And so I was taking no chances. We had packed our food to bring with us. And so a very romantic evening the night before the race. I ate my gluten-free lasagna in the hotel room. My husband watched me eat. Then we went out to a nice little pub, sat, and I watched him eat. It's race day. I have a toaster that brought up to the room just to avoid cross-contamination for my celiac and not wanting to expose myself to gluten this morning before the race. And that toaster won't stay down, so I have to stand here and hold the button down while it toasts. But the good thing is it's lit up and it's working with me holding it down. Packing a teaspoon of honey in my fancy little Ziploc bag. That's what I use for fueling. And we're getting ready to head out and walk to the start line. I'm trying to assess what people are wearing. Some people are in shorts, other people are in big jackets and pants. I don't know whether to wear a jacket, but I do have my Blue Nose marathon shirt on. This is from the first Blue Nose I did in 2007, so I wear it during every Blue Nose race. It doesn't get worn a whole lot through the year, but I always have it on race day. And the weather is, there is a chance of rain, but not much, and it's raining. On our way, still making our way. Still raining.
Those of you participating in the Atlantic Chip Half Marathon event, you can make your way up.
Okay, this is where something happened to me. I was standing at the start line here, and I was looking around, and I just had this thought that, wow, these people look young. That's not in a negative way. It didn't make me feel any less prepared or didn't make me feel old. Well, maybe it made me feel a little old, but I was looking around and this is a first experience for me that I was thinking, oh my goodness. I bet you that I ran my race at this event for the first time, perhaps before some of these people were born. I know, how is that even possible? So around 2000, I think it was 2007 that I ran my first Blue Nose event. And anyway, something was coming over me at the start line. It almost made me feel settled despite the rumbling in my belly. And I did something that I'm not sure what prompted it, but I changed my entire strategy. Now, I talked a lot about this in the YouTube live that I did last week, so I'll put a link to that down in the description below if you want to see the full story. But long and short of it is, I made a last-minute decision that I was going to come out of the starting line going fast, and I was going to maintain a high pace of running, the highest pace of running I could for as long as I could. The absolute opposite of what they tell you to do in a race. You know, the advice is start out slow, don't overdo it because you'll burn out and fizzle out way before you have to finish. You need to conserve energy. I knew I'd be making porta-potty visits through that race, and so I thought, I'm just going to make up as much time as I can in the first part of this race. So you can see the YouTube live for all of those details. But let me just say, it was the first time ever I went into a race with changing my strategy at the last minute. And then through the entire 21 kilometers, I was making a plan. When I was at kilometer 1 and 2, I was making my plan. Let me try that again. When I was at kilometer 1 to 2, I was making my plan for the next few kilometers. And when I got there, I was making my plan in my head for the next few kilometers, thinking about the location of all the porta potties, where the route was going to get the toughest, all of that. And it worked out okay, but there were some very tense moments when going by a porta potty and seeing a lineup en route. I didn't expect that. I know the porta potties are always full at the start of the race, but I wasn't quite expecting that throughout the race. So I made through and got to about the 12-kilometer mark, which is where the toughest part of the race, historically from my perspective. This is the toughest 5 kilometers. Entering Point Pleasant Park, starting the worst 5 kilometers of this entire race. I was feeling that. At that point, I had to go to the washroom, and I knew I was coming into this 5-kilometer section that I was not looking forward to. The 5 kilometers through the park actually went okay, but I had a porta potty mix up. First, I went by one because I felt okay and I didn't have to go. Then, when I got to another one, I was in a position that I felt like I really needed to get to a porta potty, but there were a couple people waiting. And so I just made the decision to carry on. And before I knew it, I was out of the park. And that means only 5 kilometers left or 4 kilometers left after you're out of the park. So things started to happen quickly. And I just made a decision. I was going to try and finish this race and not worry about the porta potties. And here was hoping things would get me to the end without a mishap. Remember that playlist that I stressed so much about and trying to understand how my shocks worked and how to get it all set up and have exactly the right lineup of music? Never turned it on. Not once. I think it's because I was too busy planning and strategizing the whole entire 21 kilometers. I didn't have a really strong time goal for this race. This one was about finishing healthy, enjoying the experience, because I had a rough year with running and was sidelined for about three months or so. And so this was really just about the experience. However, I wanted to be under 2:15 and at the very, very far end of that, maybe 2 hours and 30 minutes. But in my head, I did want to be around 2:15 or a little bit less than 2:15. So I nestled in by the 2:10 pace bunny and I could see the 2:05 pace bunny, but I knew that 2:10 pace bunny was where I wanted to stay and to try and maintain, even though I knew I would slip further behind as the race went on. But I wanted to stay with the 2:10 race pace bunny as long as I could. And as I was coming into the last kilometer or so, somewhere around the finish, I don't know, it's all kind of a blur now, I heard somebody behind me say, "Runners, if you push it, you can make it under 2:05. I was hoping for under 2:15. I thought the 2:10 pace bunny was just behind me. Somehow I got that mixed up, and it was the 2:05 pace bunny that must have been behind me. So when I heard him say that, my first thought was, did he just say 2:05? I'm hearing impaired and I wear hearing aids and I had the earbuds in my ears, and so I could have misheard. A guy was going by me. I asked him what his time was on his watch. He said whatever it was, 2:02 or 2:03 or 2:04, whatever it was. I can't remember. But it told me that, oh no, he said we could be under 2:05. And that was how we finished. I just thought, this is it. Make it happen. Anyway, I finished the race at a great time for me, and it was a little under 2:05. But the most important thing at that point was getting to the porta potties. I was very, very stressed about making sure I get there and get there quickly. And so after the porta potties, we made our way to the massage tent. And I just had the luck of the draw. I just had the greatest little massage therapist. He was just sweet and just like so bubbly and cheerful and just, oh, but it hurt. It really hurt. But I think too that it must help because I was not sore. I did not have any stiffness issues the next day at all. And so at the beginning of the video, I talked about how the massage tent was a bit of a, I don't know, full circle moment for me. So we're in the massage tent and everybody's moving from chair to chair, waiting for their turn, and everybody's getting up and they're really stiff. My legs are not feeling stiff. That's a whole other video. And I really believe it's from the nose breathing and the walk breaks. But regardless, I'm not feeling stiff. And I'm just like so excited. And I'm talking to these people that have run their race. Some of them were very young and ran their first race, and just, I loved their excitement and the energy that was in there. Anyway, they called me over for my massage and I jumped up and I went over, and the guy says, wow, he said, you're moving a lot better than a lot of the runners in here. Now in my head, the unspoken words at the end of that were, for an old girl, I didn't even care. I just laughed and said, no, it was a good run and I'm feeling good. But the full circle moment for me was at the start line when we're starting this race. I was looking around thinking that as I said, I was probably running this race before some of these runners were even born. And again, it didn't make me feel old. It made me feel, I don't know, privileged and experienced and just so grateful that I'm still able to do it. And so you had that moment that you know that you've been running for a lot of years. And then I came into that tent when it was all done. And he says about, wow, you're moving really good, like compared to a lot of the other people in this tent. And that was a moment I thought, that's why we have to stay active when we're over 40, when we're over 50, when we're over 60. We can do hard things and it feels good. It doesn't matter if we were one of the older runners to start. And so that was race day or race day weekend. It was great. It was really great. And I'm so glad I did it. But you know, in this week of post-race recovery and taking it slow, I've been trying to do some work in my garden. There's a lot more work to do, but I will get at it. I've been thinking a little bit more about the whole thing, and I'll put this in another video in the next few weeks, but this week I've been doing a lot of reflection. And you know how we say we're training for whatever, in my case, training for the half marathon. This week post-race, I've been rethinking that and thinking, I think the half marathon is training us for some pretty significant life lessons. And so I'll put that in another video because I know this one's already getting long. So stay tuned for that. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, subscribe so you don't miss it. The other thing that will be coming up is, if you've seen some of my other videos, you know that I did a VO2 max test last year. And almost a year to the date, I'm going to do it again. I'm so curious to see if my VO2 max decreased because it has been a challenging year as far as fitness and running goes. And so I booked my appointment to have the test done, and you know I'll be sharing those results. So that will be coming up over the next several weeks. My appointment's not till a couple weeks, and so it'll take me a while to get that video, but just so you know what is coming up in the future. And so I'm Angela. This is Lead Your Living. Keep moving. Whether it's fast or slow, it matters not. Just keep moving. I'll see you in the next video.